Today is the 11th of July. As you can see, I have a downstairs toilet. In the bathroom, I tiled it a while back up to this point, but this requires removal of the toilet to finish the job. Also, maybe I can fix this up too, the painting of the walls. But I want to put the backer board, tile it, and then put the toilet back on. I already shut the water off with the valve in the side there, so we're ready to drain the rest of it and pull it out. Well, my first delay, unfortunately, is there are two bolts between the tank and the toilet, and they are rusted to crap. And I'm trying to loosen them. Even sprayed some WD-40. I cannot move for the life of me. I don't want to work the tank because I could end up breaking the porcelain. So I'm gonna have no choice but to use the Sawzall to cut right in between carefully on each bolt, and I should be able to separate the two units without any damage. Alright, I finally got the tank off. This is a stupid ass bolt that I had a hard time. You see, I couldn't remove that nut, so I had to cut it with a Sawzall. But at least I got the tank off. The water's dirty. Ain't no big deal. I expected that. I was dumping some dirty water in there anyways. So now I got to deal with these bolts down there. Unfortunately, they're rusted as hell. So on both sides, we'll see what we can do with that. I might have to somehow break them off from the looks of it. So we're going to see how this works. Oh boy, this just gets better. I chopped what was left of this bolts sticking up off, but I didn't flush it completely, and I still can't pull it off. So I'm gonna have to go underneath and do some cutting with the Sawzall that way. All right, we finally got the toilet off. I had to cut below the toilet, those bolts. Now the flange, I'm gonna remove that flange. I may have to replace it, and we're gonna go from there and just get ready to do the flooring here. It's dirty. But don't worry, it ain't poop, it's rust. Alright, we cleaned it up. I put a plug on a drain. I cannot get that flange out. I think my dad had glued it down, so it is impossible to remove unless I cut the pipe below. I just everything. That would have been nicer, but it's still doable. Still use this. I'm starting to cut the backer board. That's going to go on top of the floor there, and on top of that will go the tiles. So I have my next piece that's going to go on there. I just need to cut the hole to go around it, and we'll screw it down well. All right, we got the backer board in. It's close enough, not perfect. We have the perfect cut because the tile's going to cover the. So I'm just going to give you an idea there, and what we'll do is start from and work my else. I'm debating how to do this. I shall compare to this. Alright, I am matching the tiles now. I'm not going to mortar them yet because I have to see what's going to go where, because we're going to make it match correctly. I wanted to line them up, these tiles on the grout line. So this is where I'm at, and then the pieces at the edges, we'll have to cut pieces of tile to make sure that the pattern continues. Otherwise, it's going to look really horrible, which I don't want. So, you can see that piece I have there. I'll cut a piece of that to go to that edge, and then more for the back. And then the front, we'll need these pieces too, and then we'll go from there. All right, I finally cut all the pieces that I needed. I set them out in a pattern in another room so I can just slowly start from the back and work my way forward with all the pieces pre-cut. And at this point, I'm already putting the mortar on, just gluing them down, and we'll have to let them set before we consider putting grout. So that is where I'm at. Okay, this is where we're at right now. We got the pieces mortared, so back on new bolts for the toilet because the others were sad. As you notice, I had a hard time getting them out. Anyways, hopefully they'll be waterproof, or maybe I should paint them or something. Now I want to do something about the very front here. I'm going to have to put some kind of tiling or something. I haven't decided yet. So at the very edge, I'll think of something. So today is the next day. I'm going to continue my work on the tiles. I mixed some grout, and there's a bowl here. I'll be applying it with a spatula into the cracks, forcing it in, which I shall later wipe it out with a sponge. So my work once again begins. Afterwards, I'll be putting on the flange, the wax ring and all that. There's a kit that comes with that, and then I'll be eventually installing the toilets. All right, I'm kind of just, only took a few minutes to smear it in. I use a spatula and I force it into the gaps between the tiles, which is pretty small since I put them very close together. And so now I'm going to just pass a sponge over and start cleaning it up. And don't worry about it. It's going to look messy if you ever do it, but the sponge, big fat sponge that I use, and wipes it all down. You just keep on wiping it and get it all off. Okay, we finally got the toilet in place. I put new plumbing in the tank, and it's got a new seal, wax seal, and a kit that, basically to secure it to the flange. I totally forgot to record it. I should have recorded that part, but too late now. Anyways, it works, it flushes, it drains, no leaks. So I'm happy with that. I still got to pass a sponge on the tiles, get some of the haze off, and then we'll go from there point on, to kind of get the edges painted a little better and so forth. And now I got to start working the edge down there to put something to make it look decent. I'll have to decide on that. Again, you notice that there's different type of tiles from the floor to that, only because this style they did not have any more of. They just ran out. Not ran out, they don't sell it anymore, so I was forced to use another type of tile, which is disappointing, but it is what it is. So a big project, make sure you get all the tiles and a little bit more.